Okay, so welcome. We are now streaming and we've got Kurt Mortensen with us. Kurt, thank you for being with us. We're going to be talking about the millionaire psychology. Go ahead, Kurt.
Hey, Success and Money Foundation, it's time, Millionaire Psychology. Let's get to the mindset. Not a time to just, oh, that's nice. These are the skills that make the biggest difference. These are the skills that Napoleon Hill found in Think and Grow Rich that'll make you a better, more successful, probably even a wealthier person. Let's get started with Millionaire Psychology number 11. Hopefully you did last week's homework. You got into time management, figuring out, okay, am I spending minor time on minor things? Am I starting to create the right type of lists? Am I doing it the right time of day? Make sure that is happening. But let's get more into the mindset, the leverage, accomplishing more with little time. How do you do that? Couple different ways. We're going to talk about that leverage. We're going to talk about some relationships that you have. Some things that we've dabbled into in the past that we need to spend a little more time on in this stage of millionaire psychology. Story time. So you've heard it before, the fable of the mouse and the lion. So the lion's sleeping, king of the jungle. And this mouse just playing around, not scared. But then the lion wakes up a little upset that he was woken up and puts his paw on the mouse and the mouse can't get away. And he's like, I can eat you. He's picking up, playing with it. And this mouse feeling a little scared. So the mouse is like, look, let me go. Someday, somehow, I'll repay the favor. I will help you. I will save your life. And the lion's like, king of the jungle, what can you do for me? You're a mouse, a tiny mouse. But amused, the lion let the mouse go. All right. Didn't think much of it. Didn't think the mouse would ever repay. Fast forward a few months. This mouse is awoken by these loud roars in the jungle, wants to see what's going on, and this lion had been caught by hunters and it was trapped in a net and it couldn't get out. Here comes the mouse. The lion's like, oh, okay, whatever. But the mouse is going to replay the favor, and all night long it gnawed on the net. It gnawed the sharp teeth, gnawed and finally freed the lion, this tiny little mouse. What's the moral? What's the lesson? Anybody can help you become financially better, become successful. Especially a lot of people around you can help you accelerate your course. Everybody knows somebody that can help you, that can do business with you, that knows someone that can do business with you. That's the power of relationships. That's the leverage we're looking for. But you have to, with that, have that burning desire that we talked about. You have to just want it. You have to want it so bad. Remember that desire, that burning desire that Napoleon Hill talks about. So you have your leverage, you have your relationships, but you still have to want it. You have to want it more than anybody else. Another story where you have this young man wants to be successful, asks everybody in the village what he needs to do. He says, gotta talk to the guru. It's how to talk to the guru. Again, of course, the guru's at the very top of the mountain. So hey, it's worth it. He makes the trek, talks to the guru, says, I want to be successful. I want to be successful. He goes, all right, we'll come back tomorrow. He's like, what? The guru's just tested. A lot of mentors will do that. We'll say, all right, we'll see if they will that. You came back tomorrow and said, all right, talked about a few things. Come back tomorrow, I'll give you the real secret. So he came all the way back up, and this time they walked a little further. This was the third day going up and down this large mountain. He's like, really? Why didn't you just tell me the first day? He says, all right, I'll show you the secret. You sure you want to know? And they waded into this river, and this guru took this young man's head and stuck it underneath the water and held it down. This young man struggling, can't get up. He's about to pass out. He came up for a breath of air, and he pushes down again. He's struggling. This happened 3 or 4 times. This young man's like, what this guy's doing? He's trying to kill me. And you finally let him up. They went to shore. He was catching his breath. He's like, what was you doing? I thought you were going to teach me the secret of success. And the guru says, that is the secret. When you want that success, whatever your goal is, as much as you wanted that air, then the universe will reward you. Then you can make things happen. So we have to do a combination of both. We have that mindset, that burning desire. And let's talk about some of that things that will give you the leverage, that will increase the speed to success and wealth. So what do we mean by leverage? So this leverage, just like a good engine on your car, the right wheels, increases your speed. When everything's done right, leverage increases your speed to wealth, speed to success, speed to your goals, whatever it is you're trying to accomplish with this course. Now, sure, you're smart enough to figure it out on your own, but you just don't have the time to do that. That's why we want to develop some shortcuts along the way where you don't have to go through all the school of hard knocks. I'm not saying that you'll never be a hard time, a hard moment, but you can at least reduce them. Why not get half the lumps on your head learning to walk than all of them? That's what we're talking about with leverage. You see, leverage, you can control a lot with just a little. It's a financial principle. You can leverage yourself when you buy real estate using other people's money. You can leverage your time. You can leverage a lot of different things. You can leverage other people that we are definitely going to talk about. So this leverage is a critical point. Again, you can figure it out on your own, but I just don't think you have the time for that. Maybe you have the energy. You can. You're smart enough for that. But, maybe you just want to leverage the different things we'll be talking about here. So without leverage, you rely on your own knowledge, experience. Again, it's taking more time. It gets limited. You have tunnel vision. Everybody needs somebody else. Even the greatest sports people in the world, Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players ever, still needed a coach because what you think you're doing right or wrong can be very different. So another set of ears and eyes, and that's what somebody else can do. That's what a mentor can do, for example. That's the people around you can help you out. So with this, and I learned this from my mentors, Mark Victor Hansen, it's the OPM, other people's money, OPE, other people's experience, OPI, other people's ideas, OPT, other people's time, OPW, other people's work. Now, when I say other people's ideas, I'm not saying to steal them, but they have ideas that are sitting there to do nothing with. Work on it together. If they have a great idea, don't know how to do it, you do. So remember, money, experience, ideas, time, work, there are a lot of different things that you can leverage that will increase your speed to success. One of the first ones we've dabbled on a little bit is those networks. Every relationship increases your network, and the bigger the network, the easier it is to become financially independent, the easier it is to find the right person to help you out, the easier it is to do business with other people, because people do business with people they like, people they know. That's how it is. So don't just get to know people, get to know people. Meaning when you meet that, make an impact. And don't think they're going to remember you. It's like this guy who was a real estate agent. He was all offended that his friend, it wasn't the best friend, but it was a friend, went with another real estate agent. He finally saw her. He said, why'd you do that? I'm a real estate agent. He says, oh, yeah, you are. So don't think it's always in their mind. You have to collect their names, their numbers, their emails, whatever it is to stay in contact. You can't just think 3 years later they're going to remember your conversation, know who you are, especially for the people that you're casually meeting to increase your network. And here's the key. You stay in touch with all these contacts at least at a minimum twice a year. Remember, everybody in your network, every person could help you, know someone that can help you, could do business with you, know someone that could do business with you. That's how business works. That's how life works. So at least twice a year, put it in your calendar, whatever you need to do. You can send a quick email for happy birthday. There's one right there. Go on social media, happy birthday, stay on their radar. It could be a text to their phone for a birthday or some type of anniversary that you know. You can give them a phone call and leave a message about maybe something happened in their life that you want to congratulate them on. Maybe their favorite sports team won something or their favorite college. Be a phone call. It could be a card. That could also be for a birthday. In fact, they have resources on the internet that'll send you a birthday card every year to a different person. And you don't have to think about it. It just happens. I'm just saying, just put it out there. Letters, face-to-face, whatever you need to do just to stay in touch, to stay on their radar. Otherwise, they're no longer in your network. You can't think you've met someone 3 years ago that they're in your network. This is something you have to work on to build and maintain those relationships. So we're building our networks, and as we're doing that, like I mentioned earlier, you need a mentor. You need someone that can help you out. Now, what's a mentor? Well, it's a wise and trusted counselor. It's a teacher. They're detached. They don't necessarily have a vested interest in what you're doing, so they can give you honest advice. Don't let it offend you. They're being honest. That's their experience. That's what they do. And as you look at your networks, even if you added someone that you didn't think was successful, you could learn from them. Remember we talked about the world's biggest loser? You could learn something from them. Even what not to do. You could learn from the people. Even Aunt Edna, the negative person in your family, I mean, you can really take from them what not to do. Don't be negative. Don't be pessimistic. Don't suck the life out of people. I mean, there's an opposite side to this too. But then you look at your network. These are mentors. These are people have done what you want to accomplish. They're there. And here's the real secret to success. This is really what's happening. You should always have a mentor, a trainer, a coach, whatever you want to call it. Always. And you should be mentoring others. You're an expert in something. You can do something, and that's the key. I mentor people in the world of persuasion, influence, mindset, negotiation. That's my thing. And then I look at my weaknesses and I find a mentor or a coach or a trainer, somebody that can teach me in the areas that I need to work on. That's how it is. You should always be getting mentored and always be mentoring others. So these mentors, they give us perspective. They've been there. They'll tell you, you can't do that in 2 weeks. It's going to take 2 years. No, I've tried that before, and I thought it would work too, but this works a little bit better. They simplify, and I'm going to add speed up the process. They warn you of dangers. They put up the cones. Don't go here. Don't take this road. Don't go here. I've tried that. I lost money there. And it helps give you a little patience because you know they've done it. And you know it's going to take a little more time than maybe you want, but then you can prepare yourself and get a little patience. And it gives you more synergy too. You're working with someone else, you're bouncing your ideas, and when you bounce your ideas to someone else, it kind of fine-tunes those. You start to learn to think like they think, do what they would do, and they just kind of fill in the gaps of ignorance, things you don't know or things you didn't even think about. Mentors have been happening since the beginning of time. I mean, if you want to be a blacksmith, you were an apprentice, you mentored, you were the grunt, you did the junk. If you want to be a chef, you start as a grunt, as an apprentice. This is how people learn. It could be a plumber, fill in the blank, any of those things. This has always been a principle of success. So how do you find a mentor? Make a list of missing resources. What's missing in your life, in your business? What's holding you back? That's the biggest key. Before you could find that mentor, you have to find the mentor that's going to mentor you on what you need to be mentored on. Then you could start looking. You've heard it before, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Now, I'm not saying these relationships with mentors are cheap. You're going to pay with your time, your money, other things. You have to think, too, when we start narrowing this down, what can you do to help them? How does this benefit them? An apprentice to a blacksmith, they get to do all the grunt work, things that they don't want to do anymore. That's true. A chef does the same thing. You're chopping vegetables. That's what you do. They've graduated past that, but as you do that, you're learning, you're growing, and you're becoming like your mentor. And once you've done that, you identify the person. Who is that? Or maybe start asking around in your network for the person that you need. Doesn't have to be someone you know. You can find them on the internet. There are plenty of coaches that can specialize in the area that is your weakness. So it doesn't necessarily have to be in your network. It could be outside your network. Take a millionaire to lunch. Well, they're the millionaire. They should pay. No. If a millionaire's going to spend an hour with you, you should pay. They have to eat too. And you'd be surprised how often they say yes. And you could ask them to mentor you. And you could ask them to recommend someone that could mentor you. Or just ask them some basic old-fashioned advice. What would you do in this situation? And write it down and be grateful that they're willing to spend time with you, even though you had to pay for lunch. It's very inexpensive mentoring. So you have your own contacts you're networking with, but then widen the search there to where maybe your network contacting their network or their contacts, it widens your search. You can look at other places, other sources. Maybe there's someone that's written a book specifically about what you're trying to solve. You can contact them through the internet, see if they'll mentor you. I mean, you can get a lot out of a book, but you can't learn to ride a bike from reading a book. You can't learn to play basketball from reading the book. It's a good start, but it's not the final piece to get you where you need to be. Books are a great start. You need a little bit more, but autobiographies are great mentoring vehicles. Abraham Lincoln, John Kennedy, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, any of those, you can be mentored through the book. Eventually you'll be hands-on, just like reading that book about basketball rules. Eventually you have to get on the court and learn some of the fundamentals. One of my favorite stories here is Warren Buffett. In the 1950s, he was a young, inspiring investor. He decided he wanted to study under Benjamin Graham. Now, he wrote the book Intelligent Investor. He taught at the business school at Columbia University, and he was the guy. He was the man, and everyone knew he was the man, and so did Warren Buffett. He said, no, I want to mentor with him. So Buffett went to Columbia Business School specifically to learn from Graham. But when he got there, he was disappointed because Benjamin Graham had already retired from teaching. Oh, well, no, that didn't stop him. That was his first no. Okay, he was determined, he was persistent, he was going to make it happen. He didn't give up. So then he traveled all the way to New York City, knocked on Graham's door. I don't know how he found the address, but he went to Graham's door. He says, I love your work. I want to learn from you. And he got a no. And this kept happening. Context kept happening. He kept asking. And what happened? Buffett's burning desire and passion impressed Graham, especially after a few no's, and he agreed to mentor Warren Buffett. And later even hired him to work at his firm, his financial firm, where Warren Buffett learned everything he needed to learn to become one of the world's greatest investors, one of the world's wealthiest men. Just so you know. And you could do the same thing. You might get a no, but you keep going with somebody else or even with that person. So homework time, your favorite. So where the rubber meets the road, use another car analogy. It's all about that leverage, finding those mentors, having more relationships. That has always been the key. In fact, before I get to the final questions of the homework, things you need to be working on, a few mentors in my life. Robert Allen was a first-time author. I decided to write a book on persuasion and influence. And Robert Allen was already a best-selling author. I'm like, I can pick his brain, talk to him. But before I did, I was working on the title. So you learn real fast in the book publishing industry that the title is just as important as the content, or more important. That's what gets people to buy your book. And I came up with the most incredible title that included persuasion and influence. And it was so incredible, I didn't tell anybody around me. They could steal it. I reserved the domain name without anybody knowing. I didn't tell anybody because it was so cool. It was so incredible. It was definitely going to be a bestseller. I was excited about it. Fast forward, talking to Robert Allen, get a best-selling author multiple times. I was telling him, I'm writing this book, I'm doing this, I'm doing the research. I have an incredible title. He's like, what's your title? What do I tell him? I'll tell him. So I finally said, all right, it's Perfluence. It's a combination of persuasion, influence, Perfluence. And he looked at me, he says, that's stupid. Which really at the time hurt my feelings. I thought it was the most incredible thing, but that's what mentors do. They steer you in the right directions. Been there, done that. If I wouldn't have heard that, I would have gone forward with it. I do realize now today that it is stupid, but it's just there. So look at the mentors in your life. I see them all over the place. Tom Painter, incredible mentor. We've been in multiple organizations, multiple businesses. He's been a mentor of mine. He's taught me a lot of different things. He's my Yoda, right? Where does Yoda say? There is no try, there's just do. And that's Tom Painter. He just does it till it happens, does it till you're successful. In marketing, you test. You keep trying, you just do it. And that's his mentality. He'll figure it out, right? He'll figure it out. Might not get it right the first time, but he'll figure it out. The whole concept I've learned from Tom is the ready, fire, aim. Because if you spend all your time getting ready and you never fire, and aiming, and you never fire, you'll never do anything. So we've talked about a perfect plan today is not as good as a okay plan. Because if you wait for a perfect plan, it's never going to happen. Oh, I'll get it today. No, an okay plan's better than a perfect plan, but you're never going to get to the perfect plan, so go with the okay plan and fine tune along the way. So what's your homework? Make a list of the 10 people that could mentor you in your life. Who is it? People around you, maybe that just might be an acquaintance, maybe somebody else knows that person. Make the list of 10 and narrow it down. What is the one or two that you're going to contact? And realize they're going to say no a few times. And when people ask me to mentor them, I'll say no at first 2 or 3 times just to see how bad they want it. Do they have that burning desire? Do they want to get that breath of air? And keep asking, keep talking and working with people. Narrow it down, find the people that can mentor you, and realize it's not free. You got to pay with your time, you might pay with your money, but it's the shortcut that makes a big difference. Can you find something about the charity and help them with that? Help them with their business, work for free, take them out to lunch, help them with one of their goals. Do something, make it a win-win for both of you. Don't just expect them to mentor you out of the kindness of their heart. They might. You should still ask. But what can you do to help them out, to help them achieve their goals? That's very, very important. So do the homework, make it happen, get that oxygen, that burning desire, get more relationships, increase your leverage, find those mentors, those coaches in your life, become more successful, change your family's life, change the world, change your own life, and make the world a better place.
Thanks, Kurt. And the one thing that I would say amen to and amen again, amen on a Thursday, is, when you're talking to mentors, the first thing I would do is what projects are you working on that you need some help with? I don't go to them and say, will you mentor me? Screw that. They don't have time. And the really good mentors don't have time to go to lunch either. Lunch is for wimps. We don't have time for that stuff. We're too damn busy getting stuff done. So the first thing you do is you simply say, what are the projects you're working on that you need some help? I'd love to help you. And they'll say, well, are you qualified to fix this? No, but I know somebody that can. I'll find somebody that can. Once you help them solve their issues, and the best, most the successful people are always looking for problems. That's all they do. They're always stuck in problems. Why? Because that's what they do, is they solve problems. What projects are you working on? You need a little bit of help with. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to do it for free. I just want to hang out with you and learn from you and just watch what you do. If you'll do that, and then be persistent. When I got a chance to start working with Bob Allen, he spoke at my university at the executive lecture series. I went to the Nothing Down seminar and just out of pure coincidence found out that he lived near where I was going to college. And I went, found his office, did some research, found his office, went to his office. He wasn't there, but the other people were there, and told him I'd love to find a way to work with him. Not because I wanted a job. I wanted to be able to learn by doing. And I even told him I'd work for free. And I went back many, many, many times until one day they needed somebody to go on a trip. And I said, I'm your guy. And I was, single, going to school, so I could go on these trips, and I got a chance to go work with these people. And I didn't get a chance to work with Bob very much at the beginning, but there's other guys that I got a chance to work with. Nick Kuhn, friend of mine, bought and sold 1,100 houses. Can he teach me stuff? Yeah, and I learned from him, and I learned from a lot of people. And that's how I got where I am today. So that would be my advice to you. Find people that are successful, and don't go beg them to solve your problems. Say, basically, hey, what are the projects you're working on, and are there some problems that I can help you fix? And just shut up and let them think. They're going through all the problems. Yeah, this is one of the things I need. Well, good. Let me see if I can help you fix that. And then once you start doing that, they will reciprocate and come back and say, well, what are your problems you're working on? Well, I'm trying to figure this out. Well, let me give you some ideas for that. People don't want you to sit at their campfire. They want you to go out and do your own hunting and come back and tell your own stories. That's kind of the key. All right. Thanks, Kurt. We're going to be right back with our next section.